Okay, so now we made it to the last section. And in this section, we're just going to talk a little bit more about inheritance. And we're going to help you understand even more about what OOP is. Remember, JavaScript is both declarative and imperative. It's important that you understand what that is. Something that we didn't introduce to you in this particular curriculum, but it's something I know you need to learn because you're going to have to understand different types of libraries and also different types of frameworks. And especially when we get into React, because React is a declarative uses declarative paradigm because that's what they are, declarative and imperative paradigms. So if you're new to this channel and you would like to follow along with the curriculum, the link is in the description. Don't have to register or anything like that. Now let's get into it. Inheritance. Now, I introduced this to you. You've been introduced to inheritance from the beginning. And what inheritance is, think of it in your family structure. You think about your parents and you being a parent. Well, we have children, and our children, they inherit a lot of our behaviors and personality. Also, inheritance can also mean something that you leave behind that we're used to. So understanding this concept isn't going to be too much of a challenging, but being able to think like a developer with it, that's what we want to learn and accomplish. So here, object-oriented programming. OOP is the acronym that you've heard me use, and this is what you would normally hear or use when you're in the real world programming. It's just OOP, and you need to know that it means object-oriented programming. It is a type of software design where the code base is organized around objects and classes. So remember, object-oriented programming is organized around objects and classes. If you noticed when we were defining classes, that really we're defining objects, but the syntax is a little bit different. But you need to understand how it works, because remember, in JavaScript, classes are just syntax, but we have objects. But understand, or syntax sugar, let me rephrase that, syntax sugar, that's where classes are. But we use objects, so all we did, we just formulated or made the classes a certain syntax to use our objects. And objects contain the function and central logic of a program. Now, objects-oriented programming stands on top of four principles: abstraction, polymorphism, encapsulation, and inheritance. Now we introduce the third part of, or the third principle of the OOP, which is inheritance. You've already been introduced to abstraction and encapsulation. We haven't gotten into polymorphism yet. So we will dive into inheritance now and work with the other three principles in Unit 2 of this class. And we're saying you're going to work with the other three in the next unit, which will be Java, but actually you've been working with it now. Abstraction, encapsulation, and inheritance. Polymorphism, again, like I said, have to break that down to you, but you've already been exposed to it. So inheritance refers to the ability of one class to acquire properties and methods from another. Think of it this way. In the animal kingdom, a species is a unique entity that inherits traits from its genus. The genus also has unique properties, but inherits in traits from its family. For example, a tiger and a house cat are members of two different species. However, they share similar traits such as retractable claws. The two cats inherit their similar traits from their shared family, Philadelphia. So like feline. Using inheritance in programming, we can create a structure of classes that inherit properties and methods from other classes. If we want to program classes for our tiger and house cat, we would create a Fidelia class from the family. We would then create two classes for the Panthera genus and the Felis genus. We would create classes for the tiger and house cat species as well. The species classes would inherit properties and methods from the genus classes, and the genus classes would inherit properties and methods from the family class. This is why I shared with you the video on how to understand UMLs, Unified Modeling Language, because it helps you understand the structure here. And here we have the class Fidelia. This is what we call the what? It is called the family class. So this is the family class. And then we break it down here to the actual next class is the genus class. And then we have the last one is going to be the species. So if you understand how the UML works, it breaks down each one of these inheriting class. So this will what we call the parent. And these are the subclasses. And here, these classes at the bottom, they inherit from all the way up to the top. So, but if these arrows they mean something. So that's why it's important to you watch that video, because it breaks down what these arrows mean. The dark arrow, the open arrow. Take some time to really get your head wrapped around that, so it can show you the association and how they relate to each other. Now, the classes inheriting properties and methods are child classes, and the classes passing down properties and methods are the parents' classes. See, they're passing down. Now, extends. We're going to use this later on. When designing a class as the child class of another in JavaScript, we use the extends keyword. We also must use the super constructor to get the properties and methods needed from the parent class. All right, this is something new that we're adding to it. We're just adding a new layer to it. Now, in the case of a tiger, tigers have stripes, but they also have loud roars. Their ability to roar loudly is a trait they share with other members of the Panthera genus. Tigers also got their retractable claws from the Philadelphia family. Now here's an example. So go ahead and go into the inheritance.js. In our example, I will say create the whole file again and go ahead and write. I will write these out. Start learning how to write them out, because when you write them out, these classes and functions, you actually write them out instead of just copying and pasting. It's going to help it stick in your memory, and then you'll be able to recall it a lot better. But notice here we have the class Philadelphia, and we added a constructor, and we said this dot clause. Remember, in the constructor we have to have that this dot clause, right, for the property, and we pass it retractable. Now we have the Panthera, which is extending this class right here. We haven't taught you that because we want you to understand how we extend these different things. And then when it's time for you to go ahead and instantiate it, all you have to do is, of course, instantiate it by the new keyword, and you're going to give it whatever the name of the class is. But in order for this Panthera to get the information from Fidelia, it has to extend it. Same way with tiger. But now notice here, we have the super right here. We have this super. We was telling you right here, for the super, you're going to have to add that into the actual constructor when we're using the extend. So when you're using the extend, you must use the super. So get that in here. Remember, when you add this keyword, you must add this super to the constructor, the super method. And then we'll come down here. We have tiger extends Panthera. Now, because it wants to get information from Panthera, we don't have to, we want to keep it dry. Remember, if just create it one time and just reuse it. This is what we're teaching you, the importance of reusability. Now I'm reusing tiger. I'm getting extended from Panthera, which is extended from Philadelphia. I don't have to extend from Philadelphia because it's already being, the super is already passing it into the Panthera constructor class. So all I need to do is just extend Panthera, and I get access to all of this. Makes sense? And then you have the super, and then we go ahead and we pass in the actual properties that we need to access. Now remember, like I said, in these constructors, this is like encapsulation. We're hiding data. These will be private. Now, when creating the classes for other tiger, for our tiger, we can use the extends keyword to set up tiger as the child class of Panthera. The tiger class then inherits the properties roar from Panthera, class and has an additional property, has stripes. So we just added a new striper inside of our constructor that is to this tiger, that belongs to this tiger class, not to no other class. So if we had a lions class, which would, like I said, extend Panthera as well, because it shares a roar. But what would be different in the tiger versus the lion doesn't have stripes, but the roar is going to be different than the tiger. Now, the next extends keyword is not supported in Internet Explorer. The extends keyword, so you need to understand that too. What browser that it's going to be able, you're going to be able to use it on. So that's important to understand as well. As a developer, we have to know what works. So check your understanding. Okay, so we made it to the end of this particular section and also the chapter, but let me explain a little bit more when I talk about understand how to use this. Can I use is a site that we use to be able to figure out can we use certain things in browsers. So let's go over that real quick, and I'm just gonna put can I use, go there, here it is right here, caniuse.com, and then it gives you everything that you want to use. So extends, oh, I gotta spell it right, extends, and it tells you everything where you can use it on. You can get familiar with this table, because as a developer, you have to understand, as a developer, you have to know these things, because you're going to have your UI guys or designers. They're going to give you stuff that they want to be in their designs, and you have to understand what can be used and what can't be used. It may work in Chrome, but it may not work in Internet Explorer. Now, we said Internet Explorer. Everybody's using Edge. It's different from Edge. Internet Explorer, you can do a whole lot of different things, but that's not in this course. We're not going to talk about that right now, but I just want to let you know where you can use it, because you may have users that still are using Internet Explorer. So again, that's the end of this chapter, this section. Remember, the more you do, the more you improve. All right, see you in the next chapter.